Hello everyone, welcome to another CMS podcast. I'm Davinder and this is Max.
Hi.
We're here with Alan from Red Hat today. Hello. And today we're going to explore the latest trends shaping IT, cloud and digital transformation.
Today we're going to dive into something that lots of organizations are talking about, which is Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization.
Yeah, so especially with everything going on in the virtualization world at the moment, people are asking, is this the time to move? So we're going to break it down. What is OpenShift Virtualization? What it costs? Why people are considering moving away from their existing provider? And how hard it really is to migrate.
Great, so why don't we just start at the top? Alan, maybe you could start by telling the listeners, what is OpenShift Virtualization?
Sure. So think of it as the next evolution of virtualization in the industry. So OpenShift Virtualization is part of the OpenShift platform, which is our enterprise Kubernetes offering in the marketplace. It allows you to run your virtual machines and your containers side by side.
So instead of having one platform for your traditional workloads and then another for your containerized applications, you just have one unified environment.
Exactly. And it uses KubeVirt, which means that VMs get better scalability, automation, and orchestration all within the containerized environment.
Well, that's really interesting. So all it really means for IT teams is that rather than ditching their VMs overnight, what they're essentially doing is they're modernizing their virtualization strategy and looking at container first future.
Yeah, absolutely. And Red Hat aims to make that simple for them.
Okay, so here it is then. Why would I move to OpenShift Virtualization?
Right. So this is a real hot topic for our customers that we're talking to right now. And, VMware has been around for a long time, very established player. However, we fundamentally believe that Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization gives you a more cost-effective, scalable, future-proof way of taking your business forward and transforming your business along with not just your IT needs, but your business needs as well.
And let's be honest, speaking to our partners at the minute, one thing that we're hearing is that a lot of people just don't want to be locked in. And a lot of this is down to licensing changes and also the Broadcom acquisition.
Right, and that's where OpenShift comes in. So it's on a subscription model and it's not tied into any one hypervisor or substrate. You can deploy on-prem, you can deploy in any of the hyperscalers and even at the edge.
Exactly that, Max, and that allows our customers to modernize at their own pace. It's more of a smooth evolutionary path to change rather than a classic rip and replace.
So I think it's important that we speak about who's actually doing this. From a CMS perspective, we're speaking to partners every single day. Yeah. But from a Red Hat perspective, are you seeing momentum with the people you're speaking to, and are they actually migrating over to Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization?
Totally. I mean, you wouldn't expect me to say anything else, right? But we are, we're not only have we done an awful lot of the migrations already, but we're engaged with, a tremendous amount of customers on this globally, not just locally. I think it goes across all industry, right? So there's no one specific industry that's thinking about this. I think the main concerns that customers have is around data sovereignty and that hybrid cloud approach. So there's a lot of what was chatter is now becoming real for customers, and we're with our partners and with our distributors, we're helping them along the way.
Yeah, and it's not going to be like all in day one kind of approach that customers are going to take, right? They're going to probably start in development, test and whatnot, maybe some non-critical workloads, and then move into production as they get comfortable and they start to see the benefits of the platform.
Yeah, Max, I think just on that point, we see an awful lot of that in our initial conversations and scoping. And, the assessment part is key on this. And what's great is when we do an assessment with a customer on a smaller workload, it really shows the benefit. So we take that consultative approach when we're tackling this. As I say, it's all about collaboration with partners.
Yeah, and I think on that point, workload, big or small, it's really important that people realize that they can take it essentially at their own pace. They need to test the waters, understand the workloads, understand the procedures about how they're doing it. So with most people, they want to crawl, walk, and then run to get to that final stage. And I think we've seen that Red Hat really helps with that.
Yeah, completely.
Okay, so let's talk money and effort, right? Because those are the two big decision factors in this. Is it expensive, and how difficult is it?
So the $1 million question, Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization could actually reduce your total cost of ownership, because what you're doing is you're consolidating all your instances into one stack.
Yeah, and I think that's really down to the Red Hat subscription model. You pay for what you see is what you get, and there's no hidden costs, unlike a lot of other vendors. And speaking to a lot of partners on the market, you will know that, they're happy with that subscription model and they like to see everything up front.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's pretty good then. But what about the difficulty of it? How hard is it to get these VMs moved across?
So we've got MTV, which is our migration toolkit for virtualization. So effectively what this does is it automates migration planning and automation of your VMs, and it can be done in a very manageable way with a bit of proper planning.
I'm so glad that's what you said, because when I think of MTV, I think of the music channel. Tell me all about you, Max. But not for much longer. No, I don't even know if it still exists.
Just about.
But actually, jokes aside, it's really good that Red Hat offers all of that, and they offer the tools for mapping dependencies and migrations in phases, essentially, because what customers want to know is that when they're doing this, there's got a little downtime as possible, and having all those MTVs, as you say, is really important.
Absolutely. And I think the key thing that we keep coming back to in Red Hat is we've got to make these things simple. This is a very complex world, a very complex environment. And again, we've got to remember our customers have built their entire businesses on some of our competitors' platforms. So migration is never easy. And MTV fundamentally simplifies that process for them. And with the right help and the right services around that, they can make the decision to, as I said before, move forward and find a new route.
Yeah, that's really good messaging and what our partners want to hear.
Okay, so moving on. What kind of scale of environment do you need to have for OpenShift virtualization to make sense?
It's completely flexible, so you don't need to be running a few thousand environments to make it work. Mid-sized businesses from a few dozen to a few hundred find that they're getting great benefit out of this. It allows anyone consolidate into a unified platform. So really, it's open to everyone.
I suppose people really want to know that they can scale it both ways as well, is that you can deploy OpenShift at the edge, at the data centers, and in a hybrid cloud. So I think people really want to know that they can just scale it both ways. So you can deploy OpenShift at the edge, in a data center, or in a hybrid cloud.
Yep.
Really, it's more about consistency, so people can consolidate their tools and have a simplified environment where essentially they're doing all the work.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, ultimately, whether you're modernising a few applications or moving your whole environment from one place to another, the platform will scale with you.
Completely, and that's what it's designed for. It is a completely open platform in that respect. And just to summarise again, that flexibility really gives us an opportunity to talk to any customer about their VM estate.
Yeah, so it broadens the market that we're reaching out to.
Yeah, completely.
Okay, so here's the first one. Do I need to be an expert in Kubernetes to use OpenShift virtualization?
Great question. We get asked it a lot. No. Right. OpenShift has taken Kubernetes and simplified it by making the platform look very, very familiar, so that it means that if you've got basic VM admin skills, you can migrate across pretty easily. You do need to understand how to run a VM, but fundamentally, no, it's a very simple and straightforward platform to operate.
Here's one that actually came in for you, Max, based on, I think, a conversation you must have had the other day. What happens to my existing storage and networking setup?
Okay, well, look, you can integrate your existing infrastructure. So OpenShift supports multiple on-premise storage classes and also public cloud. And then networking-wise, it ships with the OpenShift SDN or OVN Kubernetes, but it also will work with existing VLAN and SDN configurations.
So I think in simple terms, it plays nicely with your current architecture. So that's the OpenShift methodology.
So next question, is support an issue? For years, people have relied on VMware support. How is Red Hat in comparison to that?
So we have enterprise-grade support, right? 24/7 provided by our own engineers. Red Hat's been doing this for a long time. Now, if you add into that mix that the fact that the OpenShift community is quite mature at this stage with a number of certified partners, what that fundamentally means is that we really do have the most fantastic support network, support provided directly by us, so no customer is ever left on their own.
Okay, last one from the inbox, one for you, since you've asked all the questions so far.
Right, here we go.
How long does a migration take?
Well, I think that all depends on really the complexity and the size of the environment. Mm-hmm. There's been situations where we've seen differences within weeks as opposed to months. Again, the size really impacts that. And also the MTV tools really help with a lot of the heavy lifting, meaning we can see a much kind of faster migration. But obviously, that's us from CMS saying this. How do you see that, Alan?
Well, look, we've talked an awful lot about simplicity of the OpenShift virtualization platform and the benefits that it brings. What I would say is that, it's not an overnight thing, right? It needs a phased approach, and by doing a phased approach and by working with Red Hat, the partners, and indeed yourselves, we help the customers migrate and transform and expand. So it is simple, yes, but it does still need an awful lot of work in the background to make it happen.
So I think it helps a lot that the Red Hat support is also there.
MTV makes a big difference on this, and as I say, with the support network that you have and the support that we provide, we've seen so much success already. So yeah, we know that we can do this. We know that we've got proven track record in it. So absolutely, but we've just got to be clear about it. It isn't overnight. It takes time, but we've simplified it to make it easier for our customers.
I think that really helps, because migration is one of the questions that we tend to get a lot, and people sometimes don't move over because of exactly that reason.
Yeah, well, it's a daunting thing to have to do. And again, we keep coming back to this, right? You've got customers who've invested an awful lot of time, money, skills, and effort into their current estate, who are now facing some very serious challenges. And all we want to do is help those customers to future-proof their business and to give them an opportunity to change and to work with us to make that happen.
So I think that's a really good place for us to wrap it up. So in essence, Red Hat Virtualization allows you to run your VMs alongside your containers on a single Kubernetes platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this isn't all just about leaving your current supplier, right? We know there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. We know there's customers maybe even panicking about the future of their current suppliers, and indeed pricing and all the other issues we've talked about. But I think what's really important is that with Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization, we're giving our customers a really solid foundation to future-proof their business, to look forward in their business, and to give them comfort that they've got a solid platform that's scalable, simple, in fact, and scalable, and will help them achieve their business goals with genuinely what could be quite a seamless migration overall.
Yeah, I agree. So kind of lower costs, more flexibility, and quite a smooth path to migration. So I think if you're exploring your options in this area, then you really need to be looking at OpenShift virtualization.
Yeah, so I hope today has really helped you make your decision with regards to how you move forward with your virtualization journey. On behalf of CMS, thank you so much for listening, and also thank you so much for Red Hat for joining us today. Thanks very much. It wouldn't have been the same without you, Alan.
Yeah,
thank you. And Max, thanks for joining once again.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Hopefully see you there again next time.